My first game, Chess Survivors, has been on sale for 2 years at this point, and to date, it has sold $21,259, which ends up being about 7,447 units sold, which blows me away. I remember sitting there before I released the game thinking about what is a reasonable expectation for how many sales I could have, and I thought 100 would be good. Friends and family would buy it to support me. I had some followers here on YouTube and some people over on Twitch who I knew would buy it, so 100 was good. And then my stretch goal was $1,000 in sales, because if you didn't know, at that point you get back your Steam app credit, and so it's $100 back once you have $1,000 net sales. I mean, 2 years later, that's a big number. That's a big number. I can't even picture this many people sitting down playing my game. Like, that's a pretty big conference room I'd have to, like a conference area I'd have to rent out to have 7,000 people sitting there playing my game all together, which is really cool. So I wanted to take a step back because I'm working on my next commercial game, Hexagod, at this point, and I wanted to think about what did I do well with Chess Survivors and maybe share some lessons learned so that when you get your first game released, you can maybe have more success than you expected. And I think the first thing was the fundamental idea for Chess Survivors. Back in 2022, Vampire Survivors was blowing up and sold millions and millions of copies. But it was the first game that I saw that I said, I think I could actually make that game. And then I also saw Shotgun King blow up and have a bunch of success. And I was like, you know what? I like how they took chess and put a roguelike spin on it. So I combined chess and Vampire Survivors and made Chess Survivors, which ended up being this kind of quick turn bullet chess type Vampire Survivors game. And I think it was a very unique take on the genre. I don't think there's anything wrong with cloning ideas and making clones of games and putting your own unique spin on them. But I think for me, one of the things that made this successful was it was a unique idea in the genre at the time. Is it a perfect implementation of turn-based Vampire Survivors? I don't think so. Hey, Aarimous from the future here. If you want to support my channel any further, the best way of doing that right now is not by checking out any sort of sponsored video, but go check out my upcoming game, Hexagod. There's a new demo being published every week, and I'm really close to getting this core down so then we can move into the polishing phase and getting this demo ready to be released early next year. I also learned a ton through making a game like this. I think it's a great sized game, maybe for your first commercial game to be put out there. The next thing I think I did really well is I created a marketable kind of wrapper for the idea of Chess Survivors, both in the name, because the name, I tried to come up with a better name, but like Vampire Survivors plus Chess Survivors. It's very apparent to anybody who has played Vampire Survivors kind of what they'd be getting into. So seeing the name of this game kind of attracts this subset of audience that I was already targeting. Plus, I also paid to have an artist make this Steam capsule. The Steam capsule is this thing up here. It functions as the cover of your game. Just like a cover of a book, it is one of the first things a player sees. You can even see down here in this bundle information, it pops up in these small little places all over the game. So if Steam's Discovery queue is marketing it, or if you're in a coming soon or a newly released thing, this is going to be one of the first big things somebody sees about the game and can really spark that kind of that little thing in the monkey brain that's like, ooh, that game looks cool, or that game looks fun. Like, look at like True Survivors. That capsule artwork kind of just like, if you liked trains, that's going to draw your attention and say, hey, come play me. I'm a train game, which is really cool to see something like that. So go around Steam, look at different Steam capsule artworks and pay attention to what you like, especially if you're in the genre. It's helpful to come up with a list, kind of making a brief for the artist to say, here are 5 similar games. I want to use the same sort of design language so you can be talking to your prospective players and really find something that jumps off the screen that says, hey, prospective players, come play this game. You might actually like it. It's like other games you've played. So I think the name and kind of packaging of the Steam page has helped out tremendously with improving the sales and even further gaining more wish lists over time. To date, I've had about 12,000 wish lists total, with a bunch of those being deletions, a bunch of them being purchases, which leaves me with about 6,600 outstanding wish lists. That means whenever the game goes on sale, as you can see here, it has a nice big spike up in sales. So discount early and often, because that is when a majority of your sales will occur. So you can see down here this graph, there's initial huge spikes when when the game went into a demo phase and the Steam Next Fest here, and then the early access launch, the full launch, and then all the other spikes are coinciding with sales or coinciding with other big events like YouTubers playing it. So if you want to have a game with a long tail of sales, I think it's important that we focus in on making sure we get those wish lists early and often. And I'm not exactly sure how I did this. This is still kind of a mystery why it's still growing over time. I think part of it is I've listened to feedback by players. I've continually patched the game. It's kind of in a more of a break fix state right now, but I've communicated those updates through both YouTube videos here, through Twitch streams, which do add to a little bit of the wish list, but I think far more it's Steam's algorithm showing this to players who might be interested in it, being a part of different small festivals like Bullet Heaven or turn-based festivals, or even heck, Steam's annual different sales have been exciting. I think there could also be some sort of a bonus from being in a couple different successful bundles with games that are far more successful than me. And honestly, I think the reason that wish lists have continually grown over time is simply put, I made a game that's decent and I have a cacophony of other pressures trying to help the Steam algorithm push the game to other people, whether that's through the marketability of it or simply put, people playing it and people learning about the game. Which leads me into the final thing I think I've done really well, which is keeping my eyes open for opportunities where other algorithms from other platforms or other marketability things can lead to success in your game's wish list, the algorithm on Steam, and kind of pushing that game forward. And I think one of the more interesting things I did was I reached out to a bunch of YouTubers by sending them keys and writing personal emails, not this spam of insert name here, like actually writing, watching the content, making sure that my game would actually match the content I'm pushing out there. And one of the most successful versions of this was Retromation playing the game. He played the game 3 times for a total of 60,000 wishlists. You can actually see 60,000 views. You can actually see the conversion here. This big spike, that's Retromation playing it. He also played it when it went live here, and he finally played it again when the game went into a full version of the release. So it's huge. Actually showing the game through YouTubers and Twitch streamers is massive. As a thank you to them, I actually even put them in my game as relics you can find in the game, which I think is a fun little nod to the genre and a fun little nod to the people. I've seen a lot of success of various games with people putting like real Civ Engineer into their game and stuff like that. So little things like that are things you can do after the game gets released to continually push it forward. The other big thing, like I talked about before, is festivals. Making sure that you have some sort of an email on your page that you're checking, that you're actually looking through. There is an email somewhere on this page. I don't know exactly where it's shown, but they can reach out to me. I'm also active on a bunch of different social platforms. So if somebody reaches out to me and say, hey, Aarimous, I want to make a bundle with you, or do you want to be a part of this festival? Keep your BS detector up, because people are going to be sending you malicious requests and stuff like that, but also just keeping an eye open for opportunities. Bundles have been a huge source of both wishlist growth as well as bundle sales. You can see here it makes up about 15% of my sales, kind of about about 1,000 copies, with the self-published Survivor bundle being about 751, almost over $2,000 in sales there. And that is a completely free thing to do. There's a cost maybe of sales because your game's on sales, but like I said, the game sells the most when it's discounted. So having a bundle set up with a bunch of other people, heck, maybe you take that into your hands and say, I want to make a bundle, and you reach out to a bunch of different bundle creators. Be kind, be gentle, be courteous, be professional in your communications with others, and those opportunities will keep popping up, and you have to get lucky. Life is about getting lucky. Life is about figuring out those moments where, oh, an opportunity landed on my plate. Let me pay attention to it. If you're not paying attention and the luck just passes you by, you're wasting your time. So keep your eyes open, keep grinding, and before you know it, your game will be released on Steam or whatever platform you put it on, and I'm guessing you'll be blown away by the success, or you'll have an opportunity to learn how you can improve in the future. I look forward to getting Hexagod published early next week. Let me know if you have any thoughts, questions down in the comments over in Discord, or heck, come say hi to me over on Blue Sky, which is a brand new social media account I've created. I've been Aarimous. Until next time, stick with it. This shit's hard. I'll see you around. Bye-bye.